Here, what's up, guys and gals? I feel like my monitor's a little higher. Happy Monday! No basketball tonight, just baseball. So we got a little bit more time to go a little later than usual, do a little research, get it in. Shout out to you guys hanging out already. Shout out to you guys that will come if you are watching this on VOD. Hit that thumbs up. You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel. We've got now 10 games on the slate. Was 11. Cardinals game gets postponed. So that does narrow down our process a little bit. Also helps us not have to play weatherman. So I do appreciate when games like that do get moved on a bigger slate because it helps me narrow down the options. So let's get into business. We'll be using the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet throughout the duration of this one. You guys can get access to it by going to RunDFS.com, clicking VIP memberships, finding, I don't know, try the week pass, see what you think. Also comes with a credit towards Fantasy Cruncher, so you can manage your multi-entry lineups using the same opto that I do, and you get a little extra bang for your buck on the Run DFS one. Let me find some vibes. There we go. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good weekend. Interesting night of basketball. A couple game sevens that were not as competitive as I hoped, right, from entertainment value. We thought that first quarter of the Bucks game, man, Giannis was on one. I thought, oh, are we finna have something special? Wasn't the case, but what can you do? What up, Eric? What up, Skimmer? What up, Limited Monday Caught and Jonathan Adams here? I hope you guys are doing all right today. So I spent both of the morning working on the code for the I guess the 22 version 1.0 spreadsheet, but we're not done with it yet, so we're going to keep using the spreadsheet that we have been using, which is fine, and we're going to peruse this slate, go game by game here, and try to make ourselves a player pool, tier out some pitchers and some stacks, stuff like that. If you guys want the finished product, just go to rundfs.com and get a pass. So I'd like to start off the research by looking at the weather. Looks like Houston and Boston is the main weather concern here, but to get an update, rotogrinders.com/weather/MLB. Kevin Roth, he's a weatherman. I'm not, so I just take his word for it. It says rain should be long gone by first pitch in Baltimore, with a very low chance of anything forming back behind the first batch. Likely outcome is dry game. That's a good sign. Yankees lineup did just come out. We'll get that updated. I saw no Judge. Darn. Mets game postponed. Houston and Boston yellow-orange. So this is where we kind of, okay, let's pay attention here. A broken line of showers and storms moves into Boston during the game. It very well may be enough for a delay if a healthy section of the line hits them. But lucking out and getting light rain is possible too. Regardless, I think they should be able to resume. It's not an all-night rain. Putting this at yellow-orange for the low chance they decide to postpone or wait for a dry start. All right, cool. So let's go to the Red Sox game, and let's just make a note here. We'll put both yellow, and then I guess we'll put a hint of orange here. Just kind of be consistent with what he's saying. So, Garrett Whitlock. I was gonna say I don't think I want to take a shot at either pitcher anyway. I guess in a looser slate you can make a case for Whitlock, but I don't think we have to do that here. Back to the weather report. Pittsburgh or Chicago wins out to right. That's always good. And then Coors. All right, so we're good on weather. I guess we can close that out. What up, Ibsen? Luca the GOAT, man, he working on it, right? Slate's tough. How do you not play these cheap, popular giant bats? Yeah, I hate when they underpriced Coors, especially a team like the Giants that the last couple of years when the Giants are obviously, their home park's one of the most pitcher-friendly parks in the league. And then when you take him out of Oracle, I like him. And then when you put him in the most hitter-friendly park, I like tapping into their potential. And usually, like their stats in the last couple of years, you know, the power is suppressed by the park, blah, 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 blah. And usually people won't go there. But in this case, if you're way too cheap in Coors, which I haven't even processed the prices yet. I just got the spreadsheet typed up. Yeah, oh my God, that's ridiculous. Yeah, these are horrendously bad pricing jobs here by more so DraftKings than Fanduel. Fanduel, I mean, whenever a DraftKings player is priced the same as Fanduel, it's usually a DraftKings is the better value. So yeah, really bad pricing job. It's going to be hard to navigate away from that. So oof. It's certainly. I've been preaching it really since last year. Coors Field should get taxed, and it used to be a thing where they would just price up anyone that went to Coors. And this year we haven't been seeing that. And then there's leverage and game theory behind just full fading and hope for the best. But at the same time, man, you're making a decision not to play a good play, and those are great plays. So that is unfortunate. I hope DraftKings does something to adjust that going forward, and we don't have a 3K giant stack every day for this series. But oof. Anyway, let's get into a little bit of research here. Let's go to Game 1, Yankees and the Orioles. We did already have an Orioles confirmed lineup, and then, like I said, right as I went live, I saw a confirmed Yankees lineup drop. And there it is. All right. So we'll get that typed up. Looks like it's an Aaron Judge day off. So as a Yankee fan, you hate to see that. But, hey, man, we'll give him a Monday off. Why not? Why not? He's been so good. So Josh Donaldson batting second behind DJ LeMahieu. Anthony Rizzo batting third. Stanton, Glaber, Joey Gallo, IKF, Jose Trevino, and Aaron Hicks. The rest of the lineup is good. Our pitching matchup here, Luis Severino taking on Kyle Bradish. Bradish is really, really good at the baseball. I think the only reason we don't hear more about him is because Grayson Rodriguez is ahead of him in the prospect rankings. And Grayson Rodriguez is really good, but Bradish has a real chance to be great as well. And this Baltimore Orioles team in the next couple of years could really make some big strides forward. Last time out for Bradish against the Cardinals, he got to 11 strikeouts in that game. He had a 15.6% swinging strike rate, and that was miles ahead of his first two performances. You know, maybe those big league jitters took a while to catch your stride, and sure enough, in that game against the Cardinals, he got hitters to go outside the zone, had a 41% outside the zone swing rate, a 45.6% swing rate. So they were swinging, you know, the normal amount that he had been experiencing in the last couple games, but he was able to get people to chase a little bit more. And this one's your favorite, 70% first pitch strike rate. So good on him. And just to revisit some of his minor league stuff, if you guys need a refresher if you're not familiar with him. Kyle Bradish. Whoops. Also, chat, let me know if the music is too loud or too low. I always have a bad, I'll call it depth perception, but it's always louder on my end than it is on your end. So I deal with a little extra just so you guys get a little piece of it. But sometimes I just don't quite know. In his minor league career, 3.79 ERA, 216 innings pitched, 268 strikeouts. So just as like a lazy rule of thumb, if you're looking for strikeout pitchers, if a guy gets about a strikeout per inning, all right, cool, he's a strikeout guy. If he gets 52 more strikeouts than innings pitched, okay, he's a strikeout guy. And then so far in the minors this year, before getting called up, 15 innings, 17 Ks, a 0.73 whip. So he has a real chance to be something special. So, hey kid, good luck. You're going against the number one team in baseball. go get you some. So I will say, without Aaron Judge in the lineup, with Camden fixing their left field wall a little bit, pushing it back a little bit. Ironically, the only series the Yankees have lost this year is against the Orioles at Camden. So maybe there's a case for 5,800 Kyle Bradish is somebody that could sneak through for a decent game and steal some strikeouts. I think he's cheap enough that I wouldn't talk you off of it. Obviously, it's one of those uncomfortable spots anytime you pitch against the Yankees, but the Yankees do bleed red, and we do see some decent scores out of opposing pitchers, especially guys that don't have a big catalog for teams to study, and when you take out their best players. So if you wanted to get some Bradish, go for it. In the interest of mass entry, I think I'm going to list him as a tier 3 for me for now, just in case I need a unique way to get different in my Giant stacks. I don't know where the field's at on Bradish yet. Severino on the bump for the Yankees. He's been really good. Garrett Cole, Luis Severino, neither one of them as good as apparently Nestor Cortez, who leads the American League in ERA and also expected ERA. But Severino's been just fine at 12% swing and strike rate. And then his Sierra's at 3.41, xFIP's at 3.36, keeping the ball on the ground more than anything else. 46% ground ball rate versus a 36% fly ball rate, so that's a good sign for him. And then like we said, this stage in the season, we don't really have to worry too much about pitchers being stretched out, but Severino was one of the ones I thought might get bubble wrapped early on, but he got up to 97 pitches against Toronto in that last outing. That's back-to-back outings of 90 plus pitches. Hasn't really got you into the 6th inning too often, so he is laboring a little bit, a couple walks here and there, but I do think he is in play looking at this Orioles matchup. Once you get past Anthony Santander, Urias, Odor, Nevin, McKenna, Robinson, Chirinos, they all have 1-4 or better K rate. So at 8,100 on Fanduel, 8,800 on DK, I'm there. The only hesitation you might have here is on Fanduel. He's not shown us a propensity to go into that 6th inning, and we really like to wait that quality start or get that quality start if we can. But I think at 8,100, I still think that's going to offset the risk a little bit. So I'm going to drop Sevy as a tier 2 here. And stacks here, the Yankees bullpen really hasn't had to put in too much work in that White Sox series. So I do think that even if Sevy only goes 5 innings, they can turn the ball over to a quality arm. I guess available today, you're probably definitely going to see Chad Green pitch. He hasn't pitched in 4 days, and no matter what the scoreboard is, they'll probably want Chad Green to get some work. Miguel Castro, same thing. Michael King's a couple days off. I think if all hell broke loose and Sevy was burned really, really early, they might ask King to long relieve a little bit, but I think the usual suspects are going to be available. The Johnny Loaizagas, Leckies, Chad Green, and stuff like that. So even if Severino wasn't super sharp, it's hard to love an Orioles stack because the Yankees bullpen is probably the best. I haven't looked at the updated rankings today, but it's at least a top bullpen in baseball. So hard to love a full 9 innings out of the Orioles, but I think the Yankees are obviously in play. Without Judge, though, that's a massive piece. I'm going to add him to my list, but I have no pulse on ownership for Bradish or Yankee stacks yet, and then I would have to make a leverage-based decision on that because I do think Judge is a big linchpin in this team's success or potential success here. Let me get caught up on chat. John says, without your bias, do you like the Baltimore pitcher versus the Yankees? I think he's got great strikeout acumen. I think the park is much more plus than the world is catching up for. That Yankee series against Baltimore, we saw a lot of fly balls to left field that would have been out in another year at this park, right? So I like the thought of him on DK. I think at DK, you could almost worst case scenario him down to, hey, don't die, get me 10 to 14, and that's possible. And that would open up your core salary, but that's probably not an uncommon approach. But again, I like to do the research before I look at the ownerships. You get to the soccer game yet? The soccer game? Is that the Coors game or the FIFA? I downloaded FIFA. I haven't played it yet, but it was free on PlayStation, so I said, why not? What up, Tom? What up, Danny? Flexing will shine. Go Mariners. Okay. They banned DFS in Ontario, so this is my last live stream. Dang, Kevin, my boy Raj, same boat. He can't play on DraftKings no more for DFS, but he can switch to sports betting. But I'll say sports betting for baseball isn't as frustrating, I think, as player prop betting. Prop shopping for baseball, there's so much variance, so it's a little stingier than basketball. But man, it sucks to see Ontario get yanked from the DFS streets, because that's been such a good portion of the player field. People don't really realize that. What up, Cott? With Judge out, I don't mind taking some shots on Bradish. Yeah, and Judge could strike out too, so just can't ignore Coors tonight. Senzatella's given up one of the highest WOBA in baseball. I already know that you'll be. Yeah, you have to. If you just go straight up process value matchup and all that, you have to get there. The ownership leverage though is more for those of you that are like multi-mass entering, stuff like that. You're just trying to find a way to wiggle through and hope that Coors isn't the straight up nuts optimal. But man, oh man, is that such a big mountain to climb if you fade the Giants prices. So what I'll probably do is try to find out how I can make my Giant stack as unique as possible versus the field, whether it be a different pitcher or a couple different bats in the bottom lineup, or just an obscure sub stack to pair them with. Costa Camden seems more like a pitcher park now. Absolutely. Shout out to Quinn though. Shout out to Gilbert. What up, Jamie? My O's in an upset today? Maybe. Plus 167. I'd say maybe. Judgy's a big piece, man. Judgy's a big piece. Imagine Judge got to be one of the highest WAR guys, and on top of his bat being out, we know he plays a great right field. So it wouldn't stun me. And like I said, for whatever reason, the Orioles are the only team that have won a series against the Yankees. What up, AOD? What up, McCall? What it do, bro? What'd you think about Devers on Fanduel? I like that game. I think that's one of the more hitter-friendly parks in existence on the slate right now. And Odorizzi is such a contact fly ball guy. Ironically, Odorizzi's home runs to lefties haven't really been there. But Devers is just so good that I'd probably take the talent side of that. So I don't mind him at all. But I'll get there in like full game thoughts here in a little bit. What up, Paul? Thunderstorming in DC right now. Well, stay safe, brother. All right, Blue Jays hosting the Mariners. Luka or Bird? You're saying would I rather have Luka Doncic or Larry Bird? Luka, bro. Of course. Larry's old. What do you mean? Mariners at the Blue Jays. We got Chris Flexen taking on Yusei Kikuchi. Mariners have a 3.8 implied run total. Blue Jays 4.9. They're minus 165. Flexen taking on Kikuchi. So we'll look at Flexen's numbers from this season. Coming into this season, big contact pitcher last year, 17% K rate, 8.6% swing and strike rate. So by design, he's pitching to contact, or was pitching to contact. This year, it's been pretty much the same, 9.8% swing and strike rate. So not missing a whole lot of bats, and in turn getting a 4.6 Sierra, a 4.5 xFIP, and the ground ball lower than the fly ball. Usually these contact guys have an elite ground ball rate, but in this case it's closer to 1-to-1 than you would want it. So if you're going to be a contact guy allowing a little bit of upper trajectory off the bat, that could be a problem going against a team like the Blue Jays, and them having a near 5 run total kind of suggests that Vegas somewhat agrees with that. Let's look at his splits this year. See what his batted ball data is telling us on lefties versus righties. So a 52% fly ball rate to righties so far this season, with a almost 40% hard contact rate, a 35% pull rate. So that could be higher, but that's still not. The hard contact mixed with the fly ball rate, and a very low infield fly ball rate. So he's letting them up. Just a 12% line drive rate. So maybe the launch angle's a higher than you would optimally want for homers, but kind of do like the thought of some of these Blue Jays bats being able to send it to the upper deck. So yeah, let's compare that to last year. Last year he had a 36% fly ball rate to righties with a 35% hard contact rate. So is this something that we expect to come down or not? So, check out some of his baseball savant stuff. Expected slugging on his fastball there is almost 600. That's not what you want. Expected batting average is 300. And I'm just going to assume fastball is his most frequently used pitch. But we will double check. It is. Fastball, cutter, curveball, changeup. And then what's this cutter saying? Cutter's definitely more effective. Changeup has not been great to him. Neither is that. So Flexen's not really pulling from a good mix of pitches here. This is a big spot for the Blue Jays. So we're going to go ahead and introduce the Blue Jays stack to the list here. And then based on this batted ball data from this season, really all of the righties are obviously in play, but we can maybe key in on George Springer, a little Springer dinger, leadoff variety. Vladdy might get right. Teoscar's back in the mix. The bottom of the lineup is a little soft. Maybe Matt Chapman's interesting. Somebody with a high K rate but a high ISO. So if you can neutralize that K rate with 18% K rate, yeah, maybe Matt Chapman sneaks into one. But yeah, I gotta like the thought of the Blue Jays here. And then we'll discuss Kikuchi at 6,300. So there are some cheap options at pitching. We've kind of just talked about Bradish, right? Kikuchi's not out of play. Has passed the eye test watching him against the Yankees a couple times in the last 2 weeks. 11.3% swing and strike rate. In the last 3 games, he sustained a double-digit swing and strike rate. And then he's throwing a lot of fastball cutter with a little bit of splitter. Shout out to Masahiro Tanaka. 4.5 Sierra, 4.2 xFIP. And again, all that really piling on from his first couple games. Last 2 games, much better in that department. And then the ground ball rate over 50%. So there's a world where Kikuchi could play a role at this price point against these Mariners. 5-6. The pitch count's fine, I guess. Got to 89 pitches that last outing. I probably wouldn't expect much more than 80 on average. Even with Seattle, he wasn't really a deep pitch count guy. But I think for the price on DraftKings as a SP2, I think there's definitely a path to like double-digit fantasy points. And I think on this slate, I would take that from my SP2, take that 10 to 15. And I think that's not an outlandish range of outcomes. So I'll put him down there with Bradish in terms of punt pitching that I might target here. And then looking at his batted ball data, Blue Jays roof is open. That's a good shot, caught. D-Book is soft. Oh, man. Poor Devin Booker. One thing I love and hate about basketball Twitter and fans in general is the insane overreactions day by day. Just insane overreactions. And it happens throughout the regular season, too. But, man, a week ago, or the last Suns victory, Luka was soft and Devin Booker was hard, and then now it's the vice versa. Chris Paul a month ago was the point god, right? He's people were memeing the Rockets for saying that was a bad contract, and then he was like leading Thunder and Suns teams to the playoffs, and then he has a bad series, man, and people immediately call him a choke. It's just crazy how opposite ends of the spectrum. You never just hear, oh man, he had a bad game or a bad series, it's over. It's just like their whole legacy in the world of baseball analysts and fans always rely on, like, I don't know, a short sample size of stuff. And it's, I don't know, maybe there's merit to it. I'm not saying there's not, especially a guy like Chris Paul has a long history of playoff stuff, but man, the narratives change so often in basketball. And like Patrick Beverley, bro, come on, dude. He's out there today making his rounds, and it's just like, bro, you're the king of memes this postseason. I still have clips of DeRozan this season schooling Beverly, calling him too small, and then Beverly's up there talking about Chris Paul's a traffic cone. Come on, bro. Come on. Anyway, what was I looking for? I was looking for Kikuchi's batted ball data splits. So, if we wanted to pick on Kikuchi, this is why I'm doing this. Do we get an edge with lefties or with righties over lefties? It doesn't seem to be that extreme. He actually has some more attackable numbers against lefties. The ball lifts a little bit more against lefties. And then if we're just looking for pure power, a high pull rate against righties. So that's probably not what you want. But I don't know. Anyone getting big grades in the bomb detector? Eugenio Suarez. Is he in the lineup? I thought I saw that he wasn't. Maybe. Oh, you know what? I got a notey from ESPN that said he's not starting in my lineup, but he is starting. So I got to fix that. So I can't forget to do that. But yeah, Suarez looks like the guy to get around, right? Mariners are super sneaky. I don't believe in Kikuchi. I think that's fine too, Cot. I do think the Mariners lineup is a little bit fun. I like Ty France against the lefties. Julio Rodriguez starting to flourish. We talked about these rookies, slow start and starting to find the rhythm. A couple of strong games from him lately. And if he could find that power, which is what we're seeing, especially against lefties, we know he has the speed. And then Suarez, I kind of thought Suarez would be a little bit higher. You know, Winker's been so ineffective against lefties that, holy cow, why is he batting in front of Suarez? And Suarez has been just fine. But, yeah, I don't hate the thought of a Mariner stack. But for me, as far as, like, isolating guys that I truly like, it's probably, like, Ty France, J-Rod, and Eugenio Suarez. Everything else is just kind of secondary, tertiary. So, maybe I'll get there. Right now, I'm just going to put Blue Jays on the stack list. Mariners, 3.8 implied run total, right? Mets have been postponed. Yeah, McCall, got that. Appreciate that. Making sure. I'm only playing one single extra tonight. I can't get right at MLB. I can't get right. Chris, MLB's a grind, man. I definitely would recommend either trying to become, not I want to say mass, not everybody needs to be running 100, 150 lineups, but being able to run a couple lineups. And I would maybe challenge yourself to run 3 lineups, painting a couple different scenarios, a couple ranges of outcomes as you like. Maybe find 3 pitchers. I don't know if you're on DraftKings or Fanduel, a couple different pitchers you like, kind of mix and match those across 3 lineups if you're on DK, and then find a couple different stacks you like. Because the variance in baseball is so gosh dang high, and the failure rate is literally 70%, that, yeah, it's going to be hard to consistently have fun with one lineup, I'll say. What up, Pinstripe? What up, Doug? What up, Rex? Brandon Rogers or Luis Gonzalez in Coors today? What a day. Probably Brendan Rodgers from this far out, but I don't know yet. What up, Butthole? What up, Big Bino? What'd you think about games going the yard? Did you get? Are you asking like Jan Gomes going yard? Like, did you maybe get autocorrect Gomes? I don't know. I'm still going like game by game though. Wait, did you say 125 in the chat? You're lying. Holy crap! Wow, you guys are really fiending with now basketball. Last week we got back down to like 30, 40 views. That's crazy. Yeah, man. If you guys are out there, hit me with them thumbs up, man. I appreciate that. Has Winker gotten better? Last year Winker was been horrendous. So my stats are like in a couple year aggregate. So it's like over the course of the last 2 seasons. So I'm still just like looking at the broader picture, but I will definitely give him some credit if he's gotten a lot better. So against lefties this year, batting 300, that seems unsustainable, but that's a good sign for us. Kind of reverse the splits, right? 40. All right. What's the BABIP on that? 333 BABIP. So yeah, a little bit on the lucky side, but not horrendous. I don't know. Maybe I need to do some looking into that. Is this coincidental or not? 184 WRC plus for Jesse Winker against lefties. Is this real life? I appreciate that. That's a good call out, but I'll have to keep that in mind and see if he's doing something different process-wise, because I didn't realize he had been that much better. Like I said, I used since the beginning of last season as my metrics. Actually, it might be the halfway point of the season before last. Feening without basketball. That's exactly what I'm seeing, Parker. We geeking with no NBA, man. Are you guys gonna be grinding the 1-game slates like that? I bet the NBA Finals showdown is gonna be sick, right? Hopefully the Finals is good, man. The NBA postseason product can be so good. The games that are so close are so good, but man, oh man, there's so many blowouts, just kind of messing up the experience. Mariners for the Monday night. I'm with it, Cot. All right, let's move on to the next game. It's the Fenway game, Red Sox. So just a reminder that Roth had this one as yellow-orange. He thinks it plays, but there's a loose chance. We got Garrett Whitlock up against Jake Odorizzi, with the Astros having a 4.4 implied run total, and the Red Sox at 4.8. We do have an Astros lineup, right? There we go. All right, so let's get that punch in here. It's going to be Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick's going to be batting 7th. Castro, is that Jason Castro? I'm just guessing. And then Mauricio Dubon, former Giants great, in the 9th spot. So Fenway actually plays as one of the more hitter-friendly parks. I was working on the new spreadsheet this morning, and I was looking at the park factors up there, and Fenway has definitely been one of the more hitter-friendly ones. And these are, I'll say Odorizzi can be a little bit more hitter-friendly. Whitlock has the ability to be great, but has had some struggles. Just kind of an elite long reliever that they've been leaning on as a starter at times. We'll look at his metrics overall lately. 15.7% swing and strike rate, 65% first pitch strike on the season. Batted ball data is elite, 2.43, 2.64. That last game got away from him against Atlanta. Had a bad game against Toronto. Those are two above average teams, so we can forgive that. At the same time, I think the Astros are an above average team, tied for first place in their division. So there is a range of outcomes where the park boost here for the Astros plays really well for them. And looking at their prices, just thinking out loud versus what we know the Giants are in Coors, yeah, maybe they get some suppressed ownership. Maybe Whitlock gets some respect here. So I think we play a low range of outcome on betting on the talent here. So I'm going to add the Astros to the stack list. We'll start it from the bottom. And then on the Red Sox side, we have seen a little life breathed into those bats in the last couple days. And we've also seen Alex Cora get a little bit more aggressive on the base pass. So that's the style of play that I think you're going to see the Red Sox as they try to claw their way out of last place in the AL East. Aggressive base running, and this offense has to start clicking, and they get a pitcher or hitter friendly pitcher in terms of allowing contact in Jake Odorizzi. This season Odorizzi has a 8% swing and strike rate. So picking up where he left off last year, he had a 9.6% swing and strike rate. Has long been a contact fly ball guy. And then the batted ball data on that, still a fly ball pitcher. 43% of his batted ball events are fly balls, and a 23% line drive rate. With a 4.9 xFIP, a 5+ Sierra. So those are metrics that we want to target, especially in a hitter-friendly environment like Fenway. So I'm going to be looking to grab some bats against him. One of the odder things, I don't know if this anomaly, but just an oddity, I guess, is that for Odorizzi to be such a contact righty with the fly ball problem, we're not getting a lot of home runs out of lefties against him. The righties the last two seasons have been the more successful targets, and even this year, his only homer allowed has been against a righty. So we're gonna look in the batted ball data and see if that's gonna keep up here. But yeah, it is a little bit odd. Yeah, against lefties, an 18% hard contact rate, but against righties, a 38%. The fly ball rate against lefties still high. A 21% infield fly ball rate to lefties, a 20% to righties. So a lot of pop-ups off the bat, and then the line drive rate being over 20%. So, man, that's how he's getting by, huh? Just a lot of pop-ups. So let's compare that to last year. I'm gonna look at the infield fly ball. I'm gonna create a metric. I don't know, it probably already exists, but I was working on the new spreadsheet this morning and just kind of retooling the bomb detector algorithm a little bit. And I was thinking about taking the fly ball rate and subtracting infield fly ball and calling it like true fly ball. I want to see if his infield fly ball rate last year was as egregious. It was not. So we might expect some regression on the 20% infield fly ball rate to both sides and stay with that 40%. So okay, we're playing with some Red Sox here. Red Sox have a run total of 4.8. And I guess if we think that Odorizzi might not be long for this one, could look into some of the defense. Yo, Chris, I appreciate this sub, man. Welcome to the channel. Let's look at the bullpen for the Astros lately. Any upper tier guys being burned? Brian Abreu yesterday, Rafael Montero, Ryan Stanek. So I guess Ryan Presley would be available. He's pretty good. That's okay. Pretty average all the way around that. Get caught up on chat. Park says, I'm grinding PrizePicks esports today. Definitely need basketball. Bro, I'll never forget the NBA All-Star break. Bro, I lost like 1,200 on PrizePicks trying to bet CSGO and stuff. What up, Mikkel? Sup, Gun? Good luck out on the HR. Who we got today? Think Otani gets to today? Yeah, he might. I haven't gone game by game here, but just looking at what the bomb detector liked so far. Justin Turner, Patrick Wisdom, Chris Taylor, Trey Turner. So Justin Turner has a great bomb rating. He's been off to a slow start. So when we get to that game, I'll double check his batted ball data. But Justin Turner versus Mad Bum looks pretty good. Everyone hates Chris says, I have over 1,000 left in salary in a single entry. Is that too much to leave? I don't care about salary in baseball. Especially not something like 1,000. Revenge game for Dubon. Let's go. What up, Cam? Gun, who are your two favorite pitchers? So far, I don't have a pitcher I'm in love with. I guess Severino. So if you're like tuning in, I like to go game by game and just kind of research out loud. So it's not like polished presentation of, you know, what I love. I'm literally just researching as we go. So I do apologize if some of you guys are like looking for answers to the tests. Right now I'm studying for the test. But Severino right now is probably like my favorite. But I also have Kikuchi and Bradish on the list. Hello, Mia Moore. Shout out to my love. Hey, Sonny. Appreciate the sub, man. Welcome to the channel. CSGO is so fun and easy. Hey, CSGO, for what, if you guys are looking to grind a new sport, CSGO, while like I don't understand a lot of it, I will say, out of all like the esports to watch, CSGO is kind of like the easiest to watch and understand what you're sweating. As far as the Twitch casts go, they do an excellent job of like tracking kills and stuff like that. So it's a real easy transition if you guys haven't tried CSGO. Let's move on to the next game. So I'm going to be stacking both teams, stack the ballpark. But I will say, remember to keep an eye on the weather. And right now, I probably don't get to Garrett Whitlock. Although, maybe at 150, I don't know. Whitlock is really good. But so are the Astros. And the Astros don't have a massive K rate. 82 pitches, 80. I'm going to put him at the bottom. I might allow like 5% in 150. So Garrett Whitlock. I'll put an asterisk for maybe, and then keep an eye on the weather, and then yeah. So I'll also put notes. Keep an eye on potential weather in Fenway. Should play, though. Man. Think this Baltimore stack is bad? So, I mean, not to be a homer, but like the stacking against the Yankees is a little hard to love pre-flop just because their bullpen is so good. So, like, unless Severino gives up like 7 and then you're getting like, I don't know, Wandy Peralta and I don't know, Marinaccio. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the guys that they don't care about. But if it's a close game and they go like Loaiza, Chad Green, Lucas Licky, like they got some strong arms to chop a game in half. So I definitely don't want to get you off anything that you're on. Like go with your gut, but like metrically, it's hard to love it. You know what I mean? Especially with that park being different. Been watching CS:GO for years, just search and destroy. I'll do one with Whitlock. Yeah, I might do one. But that's the scumdacker situation where I can play both sides. All right, let's move on to the Braves and Brewers. So we got a Brewers lineup. I'll get that punched in. Colton Wong, Luis Reyes, Christian Yelich, Rowdy Tellez, Hunter Renfroe, Omar Narvaez, Tyrone Taylor, Jace Peterson, former Yankee great, Lorenzo Cain in the lineup. That's good to see. All right, now we got Freddie Peralta on the bump, but he gets a tough matchup up against Ian Anderson. Braves implied for 3.7, Brewers 4.5. So Peralta certainly has amongst the highest strikeout stuff on the slate, but it's not a warm and fuzzy matchup. So I think Peralta will be introduced into the pitcher pool, but it's going to be one of those we're playing both sides of it. The plus side for Peralta is, yeah, there's some strikeouts in this Braves lineup, 25% or better for over half of this lineup as an aggregate. So there's some strikeouts to be had, but at the same time, Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, like these are dangerous bats to go to war with. So we're gonna hit the old scumdacker button and play both sides. I might have slightly more Peralta just because, but for right now we'll introduce Peralta as a tier 2. We'll put Braves stack as a as an option here, and then the Brewers bullpen kind of the same, where generally I don't want to target them, but lately they have been bleeding red a little bit more, but they're so above everyone else when it comes to talent as far as pitching that it can cut games in half. Pricing on the Brewers is nuts, like I mean just nuts. Like this is what the Giants should look like. The Giants should just come in here looking at like 5.1, 5.8K, but they're not. So I think that this price point for this Brewer stack is probably going to keep them low owned, especially their big boys, the Yelich, the Rowdy Tellez, Hunter Renfroes. But man, we'll dig into what Ian Anderson's been offering on the year. But like the Brewers are only implied for 4.5, so they are dramatically overpriced. But like I say all the time, though, pricing is kind of like irrelevant for me in like the laziest way possible without context. Whereas what is value in baseball, right? When it locks, we're just hoping from home runs through and through. But it's a lot harder to fit in this stack than Coors, and that shouldn't be a thing. Not considering the talent of pitchers and the run totals, you know. So you have to make it's. I don't know if you guys maybe have heard me say this before. It's just like baseball. The more negative EV, the more positive EV you might be in tournaments. And in this case, you know, overpaying for a 4.5 run total team versus a 6.5 run total team. It's only more EV if it hits in tournaments because of all the consorted ownership on the Coors side. 13.3% swinging strike rate on the season for Ian Anderson. 58% first pitch strike rate, and the xFIP and Sierra not what you want. 4.9 on the Sierra, 4.5 on the xFIP, and just elevated marks through and through. The ground ball rate is up 48% overall ground ball rate in the last 2 games. However, it's been a little bit more 1-to-1, even to leaning more fly balls. So keep an eye on that, and we'll see if maybe this pitch mix was a little bit different the last 2 games. Doesn't look like it was substantially different. 3 pitch pitcher, so Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the metrics here. I probably don't get to playing Ian Anderson at 9,600 with those elevated X-Trips and Sierras, so we're gonna add the Brewers stack, but understandably, it's gonna be hard to fit those prices in comfortably. But at the same time, that's probably gonna be a field experience, and the field's probably gonna have low ownership on them, right? Kyle Garlick batting third is a free square. I like the Twins. I definitely like Garlick, and his numbers against lefties so far are broken in the majors. But yeah, really good spot. Roof open in the Milwaukee game. I refuse to call it American Family Field or whatever it is. Miller Park. Gosh dang it. Quinn says, I'd say that Peralta's a medium risk, high reward pitcher in this matchup. If the Braves don't get on base, Peralta could pile up the strikeouts. Yeah, 100%. That's the scum Dacker benefit, man. Like, it would be so, like, to play Peralta in just, like, one lineup, like, single entry and have to sweat one lineup. That's where I'd be so scared. But today I can go double-edged sorted. Wong's the only bat you're taking here. So, as far as, like, bomb ratings go, I'm not getting, like, massive home run numbers from the Brewers side because of Ian Anderson's ability to keep the ball on the ground. Hunter Renfroe at 392. It's still not, like, crazy. 4 is kind of like the benchmark, and then when we get above 4, yeah. Peralta is another guy that was a lot better last year, but in the 2 years prior had some home run problems to righties. And the fly ball and line drive metrics didn't really change much. So he might have been a little bit on the lucky side last year when it comes to home run per 9. So I'm trying to see, there really was not like a distinct difference in the batted ball data to go from 1.38 to 0.84. So maybe closer to 1 is what we might expect. Yeah, all right. We don't need to dice that up too much. We'll go Pirates and Cubs. Oh, we did get a Braves lineup. There's no Acuna. So that helps Freddie Peralta a lot more. I've noticed him and Byron Buxton feel like they're not playing every day. So the lack of Acuna is massive. Hold me closer, trying to dance, bitch. Alright, updated Braves lineup. So with that said, still a little bit of pop here, but plenty of strikeout potential. So I'm going to keep Peralta as a tier 2, but Acuna is a big absence. Tellez homer bomb, Olsen bomb. I mean, they can. I don't have them graded highly on the bomb detector, but those are, power guys. Like I said, as far as the bomb detector goes so far, the biggest grades I had was at the top with Justin Turner. The Dodgers against Mad Bum's always going to grade out well. I'm not getting like a bunch of homer grades actually. Like 4, anything above 4 is kind of like, oh, okay, I'll look out for that. I'm not getting big power marks, so anything else for me is just kind of like betting on some talent. Let's move on to the Pirates game. Now it's definitely like, so understand, like, people hit homers all the time against like ground ball pitchers and stuff like that. The object of the bomb detector is just to match the batted ball data from both sides to where it shows the highest probability of guys that'll homer. So it focuses on your hard contact rate, your fly ball rate, your pull rate, your line drives, your barrels, stuff like that. So yeah, so like if you got that feeling in your bad knee on somebody to go Yabo, don't let me talk you off of it. I'm just a dude with a YouTube channel. Frank Schwindel batting cleanup for the Cubs. Yan Gomes batting 5th. Patrick Wisdom 6th. Jonathan VR. Andrelton Simmons. Oh, is this his first game? I feel like I haven't seen him in any of my sheets lately. Yankees were in the market for him. I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No Pirates lineup yet. 3.9 run total for the Pirates, 4.8 for the Cubs. So Roth did mention that wind was blowing out to right field in this game. So generally that would help boost your lefty pull hitters to right field. In this situation, not a ton of that to really worry about. But we got two pitchers that we can probably pick on here. Dylan Peters doesn't have a lot of sample size in the last 2 years. Last year in the majors, he was a contact guy versus the year prior with I guess 1.2 innings. So we'll just completely dismiss 2020. And then in 2019, he had a lot of power problems. So the hard contact was still a little bit up. So let's see what we can find on Dylan Peters to grade out our interesting Cubs. And then we'll also look at the minor league numbers for Peters in case he had some minor league outings. So he has pitched in the minors this season. 19.2 innings, 15 Ks, a 0.71 whip. So it's actually pretty strong. Let's split them up. Actually, let's look at the last couple games first of all. 1 inning, 2 innings, 2 innings, 3 innings. So 3 innings in his last outing on May 11th. So that would be cause for concern on length here. I don't know if DraftKings maybe has a blurb on how deep he might go. Projected opener. So probably 2 or 3 innings. So we probably dismiss him from consideration. But good for him. Good for him. Turning things around. And then on the other side, Mr. Miley. Mr. Quality Start. Change the song. Okay. After yesterday, I'm never clicking on the Pirates again. You gotta have a goldfish memory, brother. I don't know what happened to you with the Pirates yesterday, but was that Hunter Green going off? I think we still have to remember Hunter Green's not bad. Like, he was gonna be good. He's gonna have those big games. It's just some days that fastball's not gonna move, or a good fastball hitting team is gonna, say, hey, we can just cheat fastball. So yeah, if that was the game you're talking about, I don't know. Wade Miley so far. So Miley's only got 3 innings under his belt this season. Am I reading that right? Yeah, 3 innings. 64 pitches, 510. Do we have anything in the minors? Probably not, right? Like rehab starts or anything like that. Oh, maybe we do. He looks serious in that picture, by the way. May 10th, he went 3 innings, 4 innings. So I would have some lane concerns with him too. But with Miley, we're never really, even when he is fully stretched out, never really targeting him for strikeouts or anything like that. So I guess if you're playing Miley, you're just hoping he ground balls his way into 4 or 5 innings here. Maybe steals a strikeout, but that's really not his game. So at 4,400, I really don't have a vested interest in him, but if you're full on punting your SB2 spot and you're hoping for a bat, a home run points or something like that, I guess 12 wouldn't be out of the realm possibility. I think I'd be a little bit more inclined to focus on hitters here. Pirates are getting really no respect on. I have 4 run total. I guess depending on what version of this Pirates line comes out, I think Michael Chavis plenty of power against lefties. Keep Brian Haynes, this Brian Reynolds I can get behind. They could have Jake Marisnick in this lineup. That's interesting. That's a really uninspiring lineup, but it's a whole bunch of mediocrity going at each other. And then with the Cubs, more of a bullpen game where we can't really rely on more than one at bat for the Cubs against Dylan Peters. So I guess we can. Do they have a long reliever for Pittsburgh, or are we playing full bullpen? Bryce Wilson? Wasn't he with the Braves? Let's see. Let's put his stats in the sheet real quick. Bryce Wilson had he loves bad pitches. That's his effing problem. Look at that. Look at these power marks on Bryce Wilson. So, based on that, I'll switch back to the starter. But when I put Bryce Wilson in there for bomb detector purposes, Practical Prism still up there, and some higher grades for guys like Jan Gomes. So let's go back to Dylan Peters. But that makes me a little bit intrigued with the Cubs. We'll see if Wilson's been great this year. I know that like Keegan Thompson is his name. He started out really strong and then he got beat up the other day. I wonder if he would be available. 7.5% swinging strike rate for Wilson. 4.2 Sierra, 4.2 xFIP. Fly ball rate is about 1-to-1 with his ground ball rate. Line drive rate's over 20%. Let's split it up. 1 homer to both sides of the plate. Power, So all these numbers are probably a little bit protected, for lack of a better term. Like as bad as these marks are for Bryce Wilson, you wonder if they would be even worse if he wasn't like just from a bullpen guy. But I guess 4.44. Yeah. Sometimes bullpen guys are literally put into positive matchups, but 4 innings, I'll give him some credit. That means you see the lineup twice. But I think I'm going to get into some Cubs stacks here, so let's put Cubs on the list. I don't know what to do with Pirates versus Miley. We did just get a Pirates lineup. Let me type these new names in. See if that changes anything. We got Vogel back in the mix. Ben Gamel leading off. Key Brian Hayes. Ryan Reynolds. Daniel Vogelback. Yoshi Sasugo. Michael Chavis. I mean, these are names, right? Sawinski's Auto Parts. There's a lot of lefties in this Pirates lineup. And not that Miley's, elite strikeout numbers against lefties, but last year's his strikeout rate got over 20% against lefties. Ground ball rate's at 50%. Hard contact rate's low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties. Oh, man. What's the least amount of pitches you would take from Wade Miley to say, all right, I would play him against that lineup? Because we could probably plus 10 to plus 15 his last start. So I'd probably expect 80. 80 pitches against that Pirates lineup. I say that's a strong maybe. I'd do it in deep field tournaments as an SP2 on DraftKings only, maybe. Strong maybe. Like I don't even want to type his name here, but 80 pitches against this lineup, maybe. I just might. Do you like Royals versus Cueto? Yeah. Exposures, randomness. So I haven't set my exposures yet, but when I log into Fantasy Cruncher, and I'll do it. Show you guys what I do. My very first step is pretty simple. I do it every time. My randomness, I stole that from Alex. I used to do like 25% randomness for like basketball and stuff, and then I watched there's a video on the Osmo channel where Osmo Alex Baker talks about his exposures, and I saw he was doing 125% randomness, and I was like, that makes so much sense for baseball. That's why he's a genius. So when I log in, if I'm gonna run 150 lineups, first couple settings I'm doing just to neutralize everything is I'm going to like a 30% player cap, and this will probably come up for some of my pitchers, but that'll just like blanket max everybody, and then I'll do that 125 randomness. I do have the FC Pro version, so like I can do it as well, but that's what I would do on that. So max exposure to hitter is usually 30%, and depending on the slate size, I'll tweak that. And then when I'm done with my pitching player pool, I'll get more than 30% of pitchers, but that's just like the default start for me is to do that. He didn't get beat up. He pitched good. Who, Keegan Thompson? I swear I was watching some game the other day. I want to say it was like the Brewers or something. He's been giving up some runs lately. He had a much better start to the season. He had like a negative launch angle. Yeah, he had five hits against San Diego. That's not great. As a reliever. Obviously, he's not a trash can, but he was off to an elite start. Hey G, Fanduel, small 2-game slate. B. Anderson and J. So I guess that's Brian Anderson and Josh Bell, or Wander Franco and Yandy Diaz. Brian Anderson and Josh Bell. Let me see. Brian, is that the early slate? Because I don't even think I've looked at those names. Let me see. Sound like somebody's knocking. Josh Bell. Brian Anderson. So Brian Anderson's batting 6. Josh Bell might be 3rd, or Wander Franco against Youngblood. Probably Anderson and Bell. Well, I don't know, man. I don't. And Yandy Diaz. Probably Diaz and Franco. That's just like way better correlated, batting 1st and 2nd against a rookie or a young kid. So that would probably be my answer. Sorry, chat. It sounds like someone's knocking at the door, but I'm not. I'm not an answer the door type. I don't know. That sounds stupid, obviously, but I'm busy. What are your most valuable stats when choosing batters and pitchers? So, I don't think that would be a fair answer without like context. I think if you're choosing just hitters straight up, like, and you weren't worried about stacks, or you're not trying to fill out 20, 50, 100 lineups, because that's where I'm at. I'm making a batch of lineups to achieve some ranges of outcomes and leverage ownerships and stuff like that. So I'm not as worried about a singular stat when I'm doing that. I'm just trying to attack stacks, because stacking is usually optimal in tournaments. If I had to bring it down and just work on one lineup, stuff that I would probably be worried about for hitters is like really just OPS and power, because I'm chasing homers. If I'm not, maybe a nice combo of OPS and like stolen base potential, something like that. And then for pitchers, K percentage and like Sierra and xFIP, or expected ERA. I think if you take one of those advanced metrics, probably expected ERA and K percentage, put it together, that'll probably give you a strong start. Obviously, it's not the end-all, be-all, but that's where, like, if I really had to oversimplify the research process, something like that. Don't use ERA, don't use BBP, none of that nonsense. Just, you care about strikeouts, you care about run prevention. So, either one of them, like xFIP, Sierra, I look at them all. If you see in the spreadsheet, I've got expected ERA, Sierra, and then I use xFIP to both sides of the plate. So, yeah. All right, let me get back into the main slate. So we're going to move on to the Rangers and Angels. And we have a Rangers lineup. We do not have an Angels lineup yet, because we never do. They're like the last team every day. Thor taking on John Gray. 4.4 implied run total for the Angels. 3.7 for the Rangers. I wonder, last time the Angels played the Rangers in Texas, that was the game where they intentionally walked Corey Seager with the bases loaded. So we'll see if they do that here. Syndergaard on the bump for the Angels. He is playing with fire when you pitch him, man. Some of his underlying metrics so far are looking good, and as a pitcher, I like him. But everything else, man, we struggling. And the number one problem with him, in my mind, is a lack of ability to hold runners. But if we put that aside here, 12% swing and strike rate, a 56% first pitch strike, 3.9 Sierra, 3.97 xFIP, so almost a 4 xFIP, and then his pitch type, fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. So he does have 4 pitches to go to. It's not just fastball, slider. The pitcher, Noah Syndergaard, has been pretty solid. Where he struggles is one, he's got a little bit of an elevated walk rate, 1.84. You want that a little bit down, especially if he's going to be giving up stolen bases. And I think at last glance he was like leading the league in stolen bases allowed, and he hadn't pitched the same amount as many other pitchers. So we'll pull up that up here on a separate tab. What tab would that be under? Shit. Let's see. I'm gonna type pitcher on bases 2022. I know he's the worst at holding runners, but I want something aesthetic to give to you guys. So, Rasball, maybe? This is updated 2022. Alright, maybe this will help us out. Anyway, trust me when I say that Noah Syndergaard is probably the worst starting pitcher in baseball when it comes to holding runners. So, when you play him and he accidentally walks a guy, beams a guy, or just gives up a hit, it is very, very, very frustrating to see Syndergaard, or to sweat Syndergaard, because you got to worry about guys getting into scoring position pretty fast. He's allowed 42 stolen bases to 3 caught stealing in the last couple years with a 93% success rate, and this is since 2018. It's not great. It is very, very rough. So, I like the stats on Syndergaard. I like the price on DraftKings. There are some strikeouts in this Rangers lineup. Just be very, very cautious of going overboard. And if you're going to get a little aggressive with Syndergaard exposure and you are running multiple lineups, I would probably recommend some Rangers hedge stacks. And then also this Angels bullpen has been pretty good overall, but has allowed some power through and through. 127 home run per 9 plus, so 27 points above league average. So there's some pop there, and we saw Adolis Garcia flex his power yesterday. He's starting to get right. Corey Seager's been really good all year. So I actually will probably just get to some Ranger stacks just because. Even though they have just a 3.7 implied run total. So I'll put them at the bottom of my list here. And then Angels are always in play. Although I will say I don't think John Gray's a gas can, but I do think John Gray's been out for a little bit. So let me make sure he's fully stretched up. Let me get caught up. What about Quacho Gun? When you're running lineups for MME, do you run more lines than you need and just play the top 150? I did that yesterday so I can get variance on my stack size, and it worked pretty well. Yeah, I know a lot of people I know and love that do that. I don't do that specifically. I do that for basketball. But for baseball, I already have massive randomness planted on it, so I don't know that I'm like really trimming the fat as much as I want, but I don't think that's a bad thing to do. But I don't. But I think, like, I know my boy Terry does that. He's a freaking genius, and he knows way more about Fantasy Cruncher than I do. I'm just kind of a basic feed projections, a couple tweaks, and move from there. So if you are on Osmo, definitely go read some of his articles, especially all of his Fantasy Cruncher articles, or that involve Fantasy Cruncher strategy. So John Gray last start was on the 9th, 77 pitches, so 85, 90 out of him here. Shouldn't be that hard to project. 10% swing and strike rate on the season, almost 11%. Batted ball data, good. Sub 4 Sierra, sub 3.7 xFIP. Coming into the season, they were hyping up his new slider, and it has a negative grade so far. That's hilarious. I don't think that I'm going to be pitching against the Angels. unless they completely. Oh, there's the Angels lineup. So it's going to be Ward, Mike Trout, Ohtani, Anthony Rendon. Oh, yeah, this is the death squad. Oh, yeah, we're not pitching against this lineup. I'm not. Tyler Wade, Andrew Velasquez. So I don't think I'm going to get to any John Gray here. I'll get to a little bit of Thor, but I'm going to stack both teams. So this is just a nasty lineup by the Angels. So we're going to add the Angel stack into the thick of it. A little bit higher. Angels ruined me on Saturday because Fanduel didn't know how to program a doubleheader. I couldn't get to any stacks. Yeah, that was a weird situation. There was one point in the day where Fanduel allegedly leaked ownerships of the second game. It was a whole, I don't know how to explain it. It was a whole thing, and they were showing points from the first game. It was weird. Angels is first at 24, mostly from Thor. Texas is second at 22. Graves only allowed one this year. Okay, so both teams allow some stolen bases. Yeah, and Ohtani, he'll run. We know Tyler Wade, Andrew Velasquez will run. It's a pretty balanced lineup if we're looking for stack potential. Earlier, I took Syndergaard over 28.5 fantasy points on PrizePicks. You're hoping for that Double-Rooski fifth inning. All right, let's move on to the next game. Where are we at on time? 4:13. I'm going to try and get you guys out of here in 30 minutes. If not, sooner. White Sox lineup is out. Timmy, Moncada, Luis Robert, batting third. Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, Gavin Sheets, Lurie Garcia, Adam Engel, Andrew Vaughn. And then the Royals lineup is the same. So Johnny Cueto taking on Brad Keller. Johnny Cueto last year, 300 average allowed to righties, over 114 innings pitched, 274 average to lefties. Didn't allow a lot of power. The hard contact rate was still pretty low. The ground ball rate was still elevated to righties. It wasn't like 50-60% like it was in 2019. And from peak Cueto, so not quite sure what version of Cueto we're getting, but maybe we'll check in on how he was doing in rehab. Today was like, not rehab, but minor league starts. Today was the day that the White Sox had to make a decision on whether or not to call him up or let him go. I believe it was holy cow. And he wasn't having a great stint in the minors. So the White Sox, if you didn't know, they're pretty injured at pitcher right now. They don't have Lance Lynn. Giolito's on the Rona list. But when those guys get healthy, they're gonna have to make a decision between Dallas Keuchel, Johnny Cueto, Vince Velasquez. Like, which one of those guys is to the wayside? So it looks like Cueto's more of like, go eat some innings, and hey, while you're at it, here's Kansas City. You know, they like you. I think he won the World Series with them, right? So it seems like a narrative start more than anything else. But his minor league starts were not great. A homer allowed in all but one of his starts. The whip was over 1 in each game. The walks were there. His last outing went 5.1 innings, 3 hits, a bomb, and a walk. So I will say his whip at 1.2 was a step in the right direction. And he is keeping the ball on the ground. He has sustained a 3 ground out to air out ratio. So we kind of got like a right-handed Dallas Keuchel going on, right? With maybe a little bit more power allowed. So I mean, I think we have to stack on that. We are stacking more so against the unknown than anything else. But I mean, his numbers are not super sharp. And with the Royals lineup, we can kind of get to what we expect. Is the upside lineup: Merrifield, Benintendi, Salvi, and then Bobby Witt's starting to come into his own. Santana just came back to the lineup this last week. Didn't really see any big pop out of him. But I think it would probably just be 1, 2, 3, maybe a Bobby Witt here if I had to isolate interest. 4.5 is their run total. White Sox bullpen certainly has been sluggish, and the White Sox team just a 79 WRC plus against righties so far this season. So they're a team that have really experienced way more success against lefties. With that said, they've been more injured as a offense as well. Eloy Jimenez, Joel Makata, guys like that missing time. So maybe that'll start to correct itself, and they get a matchup against Brad Keller, who is a big ground ball guy and doesn't give up a ton of power. So I don't really, my eyes don't light up when I look at Brad Keller. It's like, oh man, this dude's going to give up bombs. I do get a decent grade out of Luis Robert, not massive, but when it comes to Keller, I'm just hoping for these ground balls to bleed through and turn into singles, and then Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, guys like that can steal some bags. The Royals bullpen, not good. A lot of command issues in that bullpen. 112 hit per 9 plus, a 120 whip plus from that bullpen. So I would never talk anyone off of a White Sox stack, and it probably goes a little bit low owned as they've been somewhat stagnant, I guess, offensively, especially if you're just looking at their team metrics against just right-handed pitching in general here. So in Matt Century, yeah, we're going to get to some White Sox and some Royals. I don't think I need to get to either starter. I know I'm not playing Cueto, and I don't think I'm getting to Keller. I'll make sure Keller doesn't have any like sneaky strikeout numbers this season, but I don't imagine that anything's going to change my mind here. What's the temp out there? About 80 degrees, 10% swing and strike rate. Yeah, 17% swing and strike rate against the Rangers. Okay. 4.2 Sierra, 3.9 xFIP. Yeah, so how's our splits? 3 bombs against lefties for Keller so far in 17 innings. That's a little bit uncharacteristic. Last year, a 1.1 home run per 9, but did allow elevated average. So is that in the batted ball as well? No, it's not. 22% hard contact to lefties with a 34% fly ball rates, half of that being infield fly ball. So it looks like he just got. And it's not really a batted ball supported thing. So I don't think he's going to hold a, whatever that is, 1.8 home run per 9 to lefties or whatever it is. So just a game that exists. I'll get to a little bit of the offenses here, expecting decent low ownerships, right? 2/3 says San Francisco top stack. Hey, Gavin Sheets. Yeah, I think that's a good call. He's been really high. He spent 6th. I think he's been like more DH so lately. He's really, really cheap. So I wouldn't talk you off of that. I wouldn't talk you off the White Sox stack though. Like I said, Robert and Tim Anderson will steal some bags, and Anderson might have the highest batting average in the league again. So it's just if you're seeking power, strictly power, it's hard to project a lot of power off of Brad Keller in Kaufman. San Francisco top stack. Hey, I think if you eliminate ownership and just look at, oh my God, we're getting a 3 to 4K stack in Coors, we can still go get Freddie Peralta or Severino, whoever else you want to get. Yes, they become top stack, but I haven't looked at ownership, but I gotta imagine they're like the highest owned, and if they hit like 30% ownership, I would not be surprised. So they're top stack in theory, but depending on how you play DFS, especially baseball DFS, they're probably going to be the highest owned stack. So if you appreciate the opportunity at leverage or you want some lower ownership, I don't think that would be the top stack in that category, but everything else is completely in their favor. Giants lineup is not out yet. However, the Rockies lineup is. We've got Connor Joe, Jonathan Daza, Charlie Blackmon, CJ Crone, Brendan Rodgers batting 5th, Ryan McMahon, Jose Iglesias, Randall Grichuk. Hello, I am Elias Diaz batting 9th. Implied run total for the Rockies 5.6 and the Giants at 6.7. So whenever this lineup does get confirmed, I'm going to double check Discord, making sure it hasn't been. I just see Rockies. Nelson Cruz uncertain to play Monday. So if you guys are playing at early slate, that's news. Angels lineup, Nelson Cruz officially scratched. All right, cool. All right. We don't have a Giants lineup yet. So no matter what it is, though, we'll like it, everything about it, and then some. Senzatella, a big contact guy. And maybe that's like if we all agree that they're just too cheap, Coors be Coors. Yeah. If we're trying to play devil's advocate here, trying to justify being completely opposite the field, outside of just saying, hey, the field's doing this is baseball. Failure rate is what it is. The batted ball data is telling us that Senzatella has a 41% ground ball rate with a 35% hard. I still hear knock. Oh, I think somebody downstairs like hammering. 41% ground ball rate with a 35% hard contact rate. The Sierra and the FIP through the freaking roof, but he's only allowed 2 bombs so far. So like you're hoping that this stack doesn't just like, I don't know, all hit bombs and drop 15 to 20 plus points. It's such a bad price situation that, if you're being contrarian, I think you either. I don't want to say all or nothing here because that's not true, but depending on the ownership, how it does play out, maybe in single entry, I could better reverse leverage the field that way by just like full fading the Giants in single entry. But this is just a disaster pricing situation on DK's part and Fanduel too, but especially DraftKings. Man, this is a yikes. This is a yikes. So yeah, I might fade him in single entry or vice versa. Try to find all the leverage I can in one type of contest, you know. So if I full fade him in mass entry, maybe I'll go crazy in single entry and vice versa. Oh, that's it. How does that happen? It's so annoying. Gun, it could be a woodpecker. Nah. Not out here. Maybe I have new neighbors or something, and they, I don't know. What team does Ezekiel Diaz play for? I'm not sure, but hey, I'm sure there is one out there. I just haven't seen them together. They're 25% owned. Man, I feel like that could even come up, but 1 in 4 lineups being, Giants related is just, that's incredible for a slate this big, man. This is a problem. I don't sound like a snob, but man, stuff like that kind of takes some of the fun out of the slate. Because like I know that the right move mathematically for tournaments is to fade 25% owned stacks or 30% owned stacks, but I also think that they're just like a really good play. So like part of me wants to just like, I don't know, go 50% and leverage it, but that's such a bad move. But oh man, come on DraftKings, do better. All right, let's move on to the Twins and Athletics. We do have that Twins lineup already. We don't have Athletics lineup. We got Chris Archer taking on Zach Logue. Twins have an implied run total of 4. Athletics are at 3.7, so Twins slight favorite here. Only 50 degrees out there in Oakland Coliseum. Oakland is a really bad team. Chris Archer, I haven't thought about playing him today, but I'll tell you what, man, I've played some sus names for the sake of this Athletics lineup being this bad. So let's make sure Archer's unplayable before I completely write him off. 10.7% swing and strike rate, 57% first pitch strike. Sierra's higher, way higher than I ever want. 4.5 on both Sierra and XFIP. But man, he's got a couple of tough matchups in there, including Houston that last outing. Man, so I don't know. I guess it depends on what version of this A's lineup comes out, but there is a world where this A's lineup is like, 4 or 5 guys with a 28% aggregate K rate against righties the last couple years, and 7,400. I would just really want 2x my investment there. So there's a world where I could get to some Chris Archer in this stadium, man. It really is. So I'm gonna add him to the bottom of my pitcher list. Not gonna expect much exposure to him, but that's how little respect or fear I have in the Athletics lineup, just lock the Giants and get to every possible combo. I mean, it's looking that way. Even like, the Yankee stack without Judge kind of takes some sting out. Like, there's just, I guess we'll talk about the Dodgers. Like, I think the Dodgers are possible. You're just thinking about what team could drop, or the likelihood of a team dropping, Coors like runs tonight. I think the Dodgers up against Mad Bum is possible. But like I said, the bomb detector wasn't even popping like that either. The Yankees without Judge, the Braves without Acuna, like the pivots are becoming less and less fun. I guess it would be the Astros, Red Sox for me, the Blue Jays, and the Dodgers if I had to, bank on the strongest pivots to putting up Coors like days. Maybe the Twins against the lefty. We do get some fun names here in this Twins lineup. We're getting all righties except for Nick Gordon. And we mentioned Kyle Garlick has been a lefty master. And none of these guys are popping in the bomb detector, but that's because Logue has, I believe, my cutoff is 10 innings of sample size against a split. So we can isolate what we do have on him and then maybe compare that to his minor league stuff. He's got 11.1 innings, so I wonder why I didn't pop. 2 homers allowed in 11.1 innings, 2 righties. So we'll batted ball data that because it was only a 209 average, but we'll see if that's a BABIP thing. 219 BABIP, so a little bit on the lucky side. And then the hard contact versus righties is at 30%. Fly ball rate's at 56%. So we could true fly ball that down to about 40%, 44% pull rate. So definitely some reason to like some righties against them. And then let's go look at his minor league campaign. Strongly dislike Archer, but he's getting run today for sure. Yeah, I don't want to play Archer based on talent. It's more based on the opposing team's lack of talent. I always say bad hitting beats bad pitching, but man, Oakland might be the exception. So in the minors, Logue didn't have like incredible numbers. Wait, is that minors? Regular season, spring training. Minor league stats. So in the minors, he had a 5.63 ERA, 16 innings, 181 WHIP. It's pretty incredible stats. How many homers? Against righties. 5 homers and 12.1 innings against righties. That's not good. That's not what you want. So yeah, we're stacking Twins. So maybe the pushback here on the Twins is the stadium and the temperature here. But again, if we're seeking out teams that can rival the Giants or rival Coors in general today, I guess there's a path for this version of the Twins lineup to get to Logue, and that would be Buxton, Polanco, Kyle Garlick, who had us a 949 OPS against lefties in the last 2 seasons. Gio Urshela, a little bit of power surge lately. Gary, when he does hit for power, or when he does make contact, can hit for power. So maybe 1 through 6 or 1 through 5. And then I probably wouldn't leave out a Royce Lewis. Buxton's up at 6K, but we've kind of discussed there's plenty of value on this slate to get you there. So we'll put Twins stack up there. Twins 4 runs. I might dabble with the over, but that ballpark is so trolly at times, Athletics, what are we looking like bullpen wise lately? They used a lot of bullpen arms yesterday. So maybe, jeez, AJ Puck. He threw 1 pitch yesterday. So he's a lefty. Maybe he comes in. Maybe Kirby Snead. Domingo Acevedo could probably be available. I don't think Justin Grimm would be available after throwing 41 pitches 2 days ago. Maybe they got some call-ups that I don't know about. I guess Danny Jimenez could be available 2 days in a row. I usually don't expect relievers to throw, 15-plus pitches 3 days in a row. But I guess it's not impossible. But, like, under that line of thinking, I wouldn't expect Kolarek. I wouldn't expect Zach Jackson. So maybe Lou Trevino. I don't know. We're stacking Twins. And I'm probably not playing Athletics, but if I get to like too much Archer and the Athletics are free in terms of ownership, like 1%, yeah, maybe I'll throw a dot in the bottom. All right, we got one game left on the docket. Take a pause for the cows. Let you know that the free content that we're able to put up is brought to you in part by PrizePicks.com. If you guys are looking to isolate and maybe simple down some of these big baseball slates, well, check out PrizePicks. So you can still bet on fantasy points, right? It's not one-to-one player props. Yeah, they have hits plus walks or total bases, stuff like that. But you can kind of get the best of both worlds, where you can bet fantasy points for hitters, for pitchers, versus having to compete against sharks with 150 lineups against 20,000, 50,000, 80,000 entries, stuff like that. So if you didn't know that, well, now you know. So head over to PrizePicks. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they will match your first deposit. So let's say you drop $20 on them, they're gonna make that $40 instant site credit. No playthrough, no slow drip, none of that nonsense, and you can get in the game, get some action. Most of their scoring is similar to Fanduel. I think there might be a slight nuance in singles. I'll have to double check that. Don't catch me lying. Singles +3. Maybe it's hit by pitch. I feel like one of these is +3, but I also could just be lying. So make sure you are aware of that. But like, if you like, if you ever try to prop bet baseball and you're like 1.5 total bases, and then they draw a walk and steal a base, and you're just like, crap, I don't get credit for none of that. Well, you can throw a blanket over the fantasy points over there on PrizePicks, and my favorite stuff to target is going to be pitcher strikeout props, pitching out props, no run first inning, pitcher fantasy score for pitchers I think can go 6 innings, or vice versa if I want to hit the under, and then hitter fantasy. I usually stay away from runs and RBIs, total bases, hits and walks, stuff like that. So looking at the first inning props here, anything that really stands out, we didn't really have any aces on the mound, so I probably don't want to get into either one of them. Maybe there's a couple overs here, and then hitter fantasy score. We'll talk about Justin Turner in a little bit, but guys that I like for power or just for really good games, man, like you got Giancarlo Stanton at 6.5 fantasy points as your road DH. He has been so locked in, and he's batting cleanup. Probably going to get 5 or 6 at-bats, man. I think that's a pretty low line on Stanton. So that's probably one that I would jot down that I dig. George Springer, I talked about. I do like the righties for the Blue Jays today. He'd probably be somebody I want to get some exposure to. And then some of these Dodgers we're about to talk about are probably going to be on my list as well. Ohtani as a road hitter in seeing the 2 spot. Let me see, Angels in the 3 spot. So Trout and Ohtani, you can positively correlate them together. They're going to get maximum at bats as the road team here against Sean Gray. So a couple of road hitters that I do like for PrizePicks. Anyway, Rays and Tigers under 1 run. You like that? I could see it. Giants and Rockies over 1 run. I could see that as well. Yeah. See, most of you guys sweat the under 1 run in the first inning, but yeah, man, maybe some of these overs in the first run is a wave here we can get behind. All right, main event tonight: Dodgers hosting the D-backs. D-backs lineup is out. We've got Dalton Varsho, Pavin Smith, Ketel Marte is batting 3rd. Christian Walker, Josh Rojas, David Peralta, the freight train. Geraldo Perdomo, Alec Thomas back in the lineup, Jose Herrera. All right, that is a confirmed D-backs lineup. I don't see a confirmed Dodgers lineup yet. I will be skipping that song. And I'll double check the Discord for the... Okay. All right, no confirmed Dodgers lineup yet, but we do like picking on Mad Bum for potential power. I'm getting big bomb ratings on guys like Justin Turner, who has a 4.24 rating in the bomb detector. Most of the Dodgers are at the top of the bomb detector, so that's why I said if your goal today is just to find pivots to a chalky Giant stack, the bomb detector loves some Dodgers here. Turner, Chris Taylor, Trey Turner, Mookie Betts, all above 4 in the bomb detector rating, so those would be the likely names that I would get an aggressive amount of. And then we'll see where they are in terms of ownership. Mad Bum definitely can play spoiler. He has played spoiler. He started the season where his advanced metrics were looking a little bit friendlier as a pitcher, but lately he's come back down to earth in terms of BABIP and xFIP. On the season, a 4.91 Sierra, a 4.85 xFIP, so definitely elevated. And you're seeing, a couple of these last couple games where those numbers are really, really, really jumping here. So 7% swing and strike rate. If you're going to allow contact, if you're going to allow the Dodgers to put the ball in play, I like my chances here. 47% fly ball rate on the season, a 43% pull rate. If we isolate that down to strictly lefty versus righty, 35% hard contact to righties, a 50% pull rate, a 47% fly ball rate. I mean, that's just not what you want. And then, out of curiosity, what's our barrel rate on him right now? A 7.6% barrel rate, and in the last 3 games, Mad Bum has experienced a 10+% barrel rate. And I guess in that Miami game, I think that's the game he got tossed out of after 1 inning, so it's a little unfair, but still just regressing in the area that we expect him from an advanced metric standpoint. So yeah, we're stacking Dodgers. Gosselin, probably not somebody we can play. I don't typically expect him to go too deep. 84 pitches though. I mean, I guess that's a step in the right direction, but looks like 5 innings or 80 pitches. So at 10.2K, that's a tall glass of water to sip on. But slate, every slate is unique in its own right, and sometimes 20 fantasy points, that dog will hunt. So if you think he can get to 20 against a D-backs team that on the season have struck out an elevated amount, they strike out 26% of the time with a OPS under 700 as a team, 89 WRC plus. I wouldn't talk you off that ledge. I would prefer that number to be like 8,500 instead of 10K. But this is certainly a slate where we don't really need a ton of value, especially if you are going to be getting some exposure to those Giants bats. So yeah, let's get caught up on chat. By the way, we start thinking about some of the ways to get different in terms of Giants exposure. Some I did the other night for the Royals when they were at 30% owned. I knew, and that was the night that they were up against Kyle Freeland. They went off, don't get me wrong, but the process was, man, they're way too owned. I don't want to be too I still want to be unique versus the field. So what I did that night was I had access to the Royal stack, but I capped them at 2. Instead of running 5-man stacks, I only would allow up to 2 Royals in a lineup. But maybe that's something we do with the Giants tonight once we look at that lineup and say, okay, we just hope that these guys have the elite games. And I think that night it was like Benintendi was like the must-have, and everybody else was just kind of meh. Maybe we adopt a similar approach today, and try to be unique while still being in a spot that makes the most sense. So I just want to throw that little strategy line out there, right? Mad Bum's been lucky. Yeah, Mad Bum has been lucky. I know at the start of the season, like Baseball Savant was kind of on his side in terms of like pitches and expected slugging and stuff like that. So after time, there is some eye test or some human side of a pitcher past his prime, knowing his strengths and weaknesses. But like his cutter has a 476 expected slugging, so that's slowly creeping up. His curveball has a 601 expected slugging. His sinker, which he has really not thrown at all, has been getting blown up. But if you look at the individual pitch types, a 206 expected slugging on a changeup and a 163 expected slugging on a fastball, like all that's kind of like on his side. So we kind of have a situation where metrics and advanced analytics kind of like bark at each other. The pitch expected results versus the xFIP and Sierra not being on his side. So I tend to lead more so the xFIP and the Sierra and what the batted ball data is telling me. But there is there is some credence to him not completely getting shelled game after game when your like average exit velocities, 91 miles an hour, stuff like that. Whereas for barrels and stuff like that, you're looking for 95 plus miles an hour, right? So it's there, but I still want to pick on him. I still want to believe he's fraudulent. And there's definitely a history of Mad Bum in LA, right? Everyone ignoring Alex Wood. I don't care if it's at Coors. I didn't even think about playing him, and I probably wouldn't. 9.2K. But hey man, if you got that feeling in your bad knee, go for it. Wasn't in my pool. I can look at it real quick to see if there's anything like that would change my mind there, but I don't think there would be. But you say everyone's ignoring him, so like I probably would imagine he's like sub 8%, sub 5% owned. 10% swing and strike rate on the season. What kind of pitches are we getting? Fastball, slider, changeup. So a little break in some of these pitches. Not a ton of velo. Not a ton of swing and miss stuff. Sierra and X-Flips on his side. They still don't have Chris Bryant, but there's not a ton of strikeouts. Like, no matter where the game is at, right? Only Ryan McMahon and CJ Cron have elevated, 20+% K rates to lefties. And CJ Cron's like the bat I'm most scared of. So at 9.2K, I probably sit that one out. But like, if you think Alex Wood's got it, man, go for it. Definitely wouldn't want to talk you off of that. But this is kind of a menacing lineup against lefties. They have 125 WRC plus as a team this year against lefties. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Mad Bun's breaking all the metrics, kind of like Nestor Cortez last year, right? And if no run first inning actually only hits at a 47% rate, that's an interesting stat. I don't know how. I know on Twitter every now and then I'll see like people making these graphs of how often a team scores in the first inning, and I'm like, that's really not valuable because you don't know who's pitching. That's the more valuable part. And then both teams are putting their best hitters out in the top three, right? Chat, I forgot. I misscheduled my stuff. I forgot that I was supposed to be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord about 40 minutes ago. Whoops. Isn't that? I guess I should have did a stream at 2. I always get flipped between Eastern and Western, or Central versus Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to get out of here. But I do know our buddies at Osmo, they're about to go live. So if you want to check them out, they're going to get you down to lock. I am going to go to the RunDFS.com VIP voice chat. So if you guys want to get in on that, go to RunDFS.com, click yourself a week pass, try out a week pass. And then if you come over here, I'll be right here where everyone else is right now. And then I'll be working on my player pool till lock. So we'll be back tomorrow for more content. Probably going to do a live stream for NBA's one-game slate. We'll see. I got to get with Josh and get to the nitty-gritty on that. But if I can do it, if I can help it, I'll also try and get a baseball stream in the afternoon. And if that happens, that'll probably be around 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. But be a little fluid, flexible with me. Twitter.com/Gundacker, where you guys can connect with me. I'm going to get out of here, man. I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your day with a little bit of my day, man. I hope you crush it tonight. I love you guys. Shout out to Rick for the sub. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.